Then you just respawn. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, man, we're driving. We're a couple seconds ahead of you.
All right.
So
Right now, I just drifted through a secondary bunch of dudes and did a fishtail into a lower valley. Now I'm driving over some grunts. Fishtailing, saying shooting some guys. We flipped. We're hitting concussion. Ooh! Locked up. It's flipping over. Yeah, we're like 4 or 5 seconds ahead of you.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway, back to the Xbox One. Is it a piece of hardware that everyone should have in their house?
Yes.
Like, if you were to buy a console, it is the one.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, and I'll say this though, in terms of very futuristic technology, totally. Although I have to say, and I don't even know that this is pertinent to the question that you're asking. As a gamer, there is Sony is really working hard to win the hearts and minds of gamers. I was looking at what the free games are for the PlayStation Network right now. They've got a series of really good, solid games that are being released for free if you're a member of the PlayStation
Plus
1 or PS1 or whatever the fuck it's called.
I've seen that, and I think it's going to take a good 6 months before people realize that PS1's a viable option to Xbox Live. Because I think they've fucked themselves with such a poor showing in their online attribution before.
Oh, the PS3
Yeah,
online
just
was
like-
horrible.
I would do it now. Yeah, it was so rough.
Yeah, so I think that the PlayStation Plus, as a network itself, just as a network, is definitely proving viable. However, I still firmly believe, and this is the disclaimer, I haven't even touched, other than playing a PlayStation 4 in the Comcast Center in Philadelphia, without having actually lived with and used the network and the system. I still think that the Xbox is the more forward-thinking technology, and I think that people who have a 360 who think, well, do I want a PS4? Do I want the Xbox One? Mileage may vary depending on what your use case might be, but if you're invested in the Xbox ecosystem, or if you're very interested in technology that is going to lend itself to some very awesome shit in the future, I do believe the Xbox One is the way to go.
Can I get it racial for a second? Maybe semi-political?
Sure.
Do you guys ever like see PlayStation ads or Xbox ads, or just feel in general that the brand PlayStation is more of a minority and Xbox is more of a middle
It
to
can
upper
definitely
class
seem
white?
that way, especially if you look at videos on YouTube and stuff like that of the main proponents of the PlayStation tend to be minorities. Yes.
I'll go one step further, and I'll say that if we're talking about politics, and I know you were saying politics and racial, so the way that I interpret that is Microsoft has a lot more money to spend on marketing than Sony does. So you'll see, in terms of mainstream, I think the Xbox is still a brand that is stronger because Microsoft can afford to put the money into having the Xbox doing product placement in movies and other things like that, where the PlayStation is basically predicated on the strength of its own ability to be a good console. And it is. But Microsoft can spend the money to put it in movies and shit. And I think that that's how it it situates itself more into the mind share of the general populace. And I say that that's racial and political because, I don't know, to me it seems like, when you have a lot more money, like when you, I don't want to word this delicately, I don't, like if you're basically trying to sell yourself, then obviously the people who have more money can have the advantage of making themselves look better or more interesting.
Moved that time, I had them right in my sights for the whole time too. But yeah, no, I mean, I've noticed it in a lot of, like I said, even you get into a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, you find that the biggest proponents of the PS3 and the PS4 tend to be minorities. And, I don't know why. Maybe they like the controller, maybe they just whatever, I know for the PS3, a lot of it was you don't have to pay for online. And
I don't. I mean, that's cool. Empirically, I don't honestly have any strong observations with the PlayStation, and I did have a PS3, being a little bit more prevalent among one race or another, as opposed to the Xbox. That just wasn't my experience. I wouldn't, if somebody were to ask me, playing both systems, where did I think one race seemed more dominant than another, I would have zero answer for that, because I observed nothing that was relevant to that kind of query.
Well, I have more PlayStation 3s in this house than I have Xboxes. And I think Sam maybe was hinting at more of an economical, social standpoint of, it was a free thing, which might speak to some more cultural areas than others. But I guess what I'm really speaking at is I might disagree with you with the Sony or Microsoft has more marketing budget than Sony does, because if I were to guess, and I have no idea, if I were to guess, the marketing would be broken up by brands. Like, it wouldn't be Microsoft as a whole has a marketing budget for the Xbox. It would probably be Xbox as a brand has a marketing budget, and so does PlayStation. And I wouldn't, just as a guess, again, I don't have anything, but as a guess, I would say that they were probably pretty similar. Hit this guy on this tower behind us.
I would, no, I understand what you're saying, and I think that that's a really valid point, is that, departmentally, the different sections of the company, say in Microsoft, Xbox division, or the entertainment division gets a set number of money per year or whatever of a budget for promoting and raising awareness of the brand. But at the same time, Sony, just in terms of their operational costs, Microsoft is clearly an established leader in having a lot more money. I'm trying to use market terms, but I'm actually not a marketer, so I'm kind of talking out of my ass. Microsoft definitely has a lot more money to spend. If they wanted to make the Xbox a very popular brand, they have the money, whereas Sony doesn't have the money. That
and you got to remember,
so
the PlayStation is pretty much the only profitable thing Sony has right now.
So you're saying Xbox can invest more than Sony can invest in a PlayStation?
Right, because they have the opportunity, if they want to on the fly up the operating budget for marketing. Where Sony's like, we only have this much money a year. And Sony, they vacillate. Sometimes they're doing well, sometimes they're not. But Sony's been doing a lot of restructuring because as a corporation overall, they're struggling. And Microsoft is not. And
it is true.
Right.
Because Sony, with their movie studio and their music and everything else like that,
hardware division,
they're not making as much as they'd like to be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think Microsoft, with this whole Spielberg thing, they toted out, and their studio they're going to make, do you think they're moving towards a push like Marvel made to control their own development cycle of video content?
I absolutely believe that to be true, especially in light of the recent purchase of the Gears of War franchise.
I agree. I think that leads more to a video system, video productions, than it does a video game. I think that's going to be more of a, and maybe that's where you're going. I don't know. I was jumping on you, what you were talking about there, but I think that's going to be more of a. I think the way to reboot that is to do it with a show first and then go into a game. Is a great reboot. Give Marcus his trial and all that in a show form. No one wants to play a trial.
Yeah, no, that's exactly the direction I was going, where they don't just own the rights to make and publish a game. They own the rights to own the complete franchise and the IP. So they own the intellectual property for Halo and Gears, which are their two biggest properties, arguably. Actually, I don't think that's arguably. So they can sell the t-shirts, the comic books, the movies, everything else in addition to the video games. And they're making a lot of money. They're selling already, they're even selling shitty fucking Halo twin stick shooters. The Spartan Assault thing apparently is not so great, and they're making money on it, and they're going to sell the t-shirts, and they're going to sell all the merchandising. so yeah, I think Microsoft is definitely looking at it more than just the video games and publishing aspect, looking at creating franchises.
And that's the thing. Video games make money, but pop culture makes way more money. Your girlfriend might buy a t-shirt because you like Halo that you would never buy before, and that's $15 more than they ever made before.
Right.
Pop culture sells.
Yeah.
Point in fact, because I was a real big fan of Gears of War when I met my fiance at the time, she actually bought me pajamas, Gears of War pajamas, which is pretty funny, and I wear them, but I never would have bought Gears of War pajamas for myself. But again, it's that ancillary, like, you know, people know, oh, my boyfriend plays Gears of War, I'll buy him some t-shirts and pajamas.
The pop culture recognition of it gets
right. Right. So that's
already.
To your point exactly. It's the pop
Yeah.
culture becomes part of that zeitgeist, and people buy shit because oh, my nephew or my dad or my brother or my sister. You know, girls into that shit too, and they'll buy the shit.
I've dubbed that the Nintendo Woo factor, where your grandma goes to Toys R Us and sees a Nintendo Woo, and she thought you said Nintendo Wii or whatever, you know. She buys that third-party generic Nintendo Woo thing that has like some bubbles in it, and you push it and move the little thing up. Like, oh, we got you that thing you wanted. You're like, no, Grandma, you're fucking retarded because you got me nothing I wanted. You got me trash. The Nintendo Woo factor. You walk through Hot Topic and see a picture that oh, I think my boyfriend plays something that has that symbol on it. I think I'll buy it. That's $15 more on a mistake than that Epic has now. And Clippy B is driving his Ferrari just a little bit further than he was before.
Yeah. Let me just say this, since you brought it up. I think Cliff Bleszinski's relevance is waning very quickly. I don't seek out his blogs or his Twitter shit, but for some odd reason, gaming media is still very much got some fucking blood in their boners for him. And so every once in a while, I'll see some interview with him still. And I used to think he was interesting because he's my age, and he's a game developer. But now I just think he's a cocky, kind of full of shit fucking asshole.
Yeah.
I do. I think he's an asshole.
I think the media made him that way because I think he's the only celebrity or the only like real like star to come from video game making, you know? Like there's household names here and
in
there.
The way that he
and
did it, you're right. I mean,
got Notch, but like the way he did it, yeah, exactly. He's on David Letterman, he's on fucking Jimmy Fallon, he's talking about current events, games. I like that part of it, but you're right.
I dig that.
Off like he's above you about it, though.
I dig that. But if I would never, ever, and I know this because I know who I am as a person, no matter how, let's just say that I did a podcast when podcasts were new and I got famous for it and rich, right?
You did.
I would never make my wife or fiance pose in a bikini on my Ferrari or whatever hot car I have just to elevate my own geek status. Like, I understand what that is. That is a geek who needs to feel envied by other geeks. And and this is a real thing. Cliffy he would post pictures of his Lamborghini. He posts pictures of who is a very attractive wife now, who loves video games and looks great in a bikini. He had her posing on his Ferrari or whatever, his Lamborghini. That is so obnoxious and pathetically desperate for attention. I have no respect for any human being who would do that, and I would never do that.
Very juvenile.
Yeah.
It is juvenile. It's like you are so overcompensating for something that, and I would be aware of that if I was doing it. I would like, my need to overcompensate would overcompensate that need. I'd be like, you know what? Let people judge me because I absolutely cannot put my fucking wife in a bikini and make her fucking sprawl out like Tia Leone on my fucking car. Fuck that. I'm not that much of a douche.
Yeah.
But Cliffy B is, and that's why I have no respect for him.
Oh, Sam.
That was horrible. You guys just drove right over a cliff for no reason.
Yeah, I did that because my truck was on fire, and there used to be hogs back there you could go back and get, and it wasn't there, so I thought I'd go over the edge and try to jump up there, and it didn't work.
Which was sad because we only had like 4 enemies left.
Fuck off,
I don't know
Sam.
how
I know
shitty
the
my
count.
mic is, because this is my built-in laptop mic, but I am actually picking up all my podcast gear back from Suicide X the next week or so.
That's good to know, and you're coming in clear, by the way.
Good. This is funny, and this is not related to anything we've talked about, but I had a dream, Chess, about you and me doing a show, and I woke up, I told my fiance about it because I was very excited about the idea, where basically we did a show that was from the future. So basically it was a post-apocalyptic future, like a cyberpunk, sort of future. So basically it's a radio show from the future. And it doesn't know that it's from the future. So it's not like we're making references to people in the past. It's just from the future. So all the like weather reports would be about like fallout and toxicology and the music, it'd be like that. Like it basically literally people could hear what the future would be in a totally bleak, desolate future. That's what a radio
shit like New Texas has zombie uprisings on the eastern quadrant, so watch out for that.
Shit like that. Yeah.
No, on the west coast of New Maine, like that bullshit.
And that was a dream I had. I woke up and like, oh my god, that would be such an awesome fucking podcast.
I'll do it. No problem. I'll do it. No problem, dude. That sounds fun as fuck. Kill those two. That one's got a fusion coil or a fuel rod or whatever the fuck you call it. Yeah, fuel rod.
Grunts with the fuel rod are the worst.
I'm gonna grab that fuel rod just in case we need to take out this elite with it. That's not sprint. There it is.
So, Bill, what else would you say you like about the Xbox One?
What sells that console to you over a PS3 if I were at Best Buy?
That's tough. I mean, I have to. It's one of those questions where you'd think that I would know by now because just by using it. I would honestly think the technology, the potential in it.
Power.
Like at this point, what your 360 can do. When I'm playing with my Xbox One, I feel like there's so much stuff that they haven't even added the software yet that it can do. It's just very exciting in terms of potential. Right now, the voice commands and the Kinect stuff, I think, is pretty much the biggest draw because if you're looking at games, there's not much out there. So it's basically just how you interact with this machine.
Right.
And the interaction itself is really awesome.
Fuck.
I love a lot of little things. I love the fact that, here's a big thing, actually, for me, is if my fiance wants to play Dead Rising 3, and so she picks up the controller, it immediately recognizes that it's her. She can go and plays through Dead Rising, and it's automatically all associated to her account. All the achievements, all the the game saves. I don't have to worry about like, I have to put my game saves on my cloud thing, and whatever.
It's the same thing. When my brother does it, it's all saved to his.
Right, and I love that. And sort of expand on that. I love that game saves are all saved in the cloud automatically, no matter what. Which is great because if I go to Matt's house, Chess Dog's house, and I start playing Rise, I don't know why I would do that because it's a boring fucking game, but if I did, it would, and for if I made sure that it knew that I was who I am on my account, it would automatically associate whatever I'm playing with the games that I have in the cloud, and I wouldn't have to start over.
That looked like a boring fucking game from the trailer, by the way.
By the way, Rise,
boring.
Yeah, Rise is a fucking, it's a tepid tech demo. It's cool, right? Like when you're playing the
fuck. But sorry.
Now I'm kind of the damage on the Warthog. When you're playing for like the first 15 minutes, 30 minutes, getting the sense of how the game plays, you're like, oh, it's cool, and all the different ways you can kill people. It really quickly becomes painfully boring. It's like fucking boring. And also, I realize it's a niche game for people who like this particular type of game.
Right.
Forza, boring. Fucking boring.
I like Forzas. I've liked the franchise. I've played every one, to tell you the truth. So I was kind of looking forward to 5.
Well, I mean, if you like
them, racing games are generally more. Yeah.
Well, I don't know, man. Like I played it and I was winning a lot of races, and I just sort of felt bored. So, but I never really got into the car customization aspect. Now, if there was a motorcycle version of Forza where I can go in and start tweaking like the engine and stuff like that, that would be cool. But
right, I think a lot of Forza. This isn't a Forza thing or anything like that. We shouldn't talk too much about it. But I think a lot of Forza has to do with what difficulty you ever set it on. You can easily set it on like an easy difficulty off the get-go and never ever have a problem with the game, or you can bump it up fractionally through, like, you turn your traction control on, you turn your simulated steering, your damage on, shit like that, and it makes the game much, much more intense. But if you're not into racing games to begin with, then it's not really that fun, no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, the Force is beautiful.
I'm a big fan of, like,
The graphics are
should get out
absolutely
of it.
beautiful.
fan of, like, you know, Need for Speed. I love arcade racers. I love them. They're so much fun. The more sort of racer simulators. Not
Yeah,
so
I'm the
much.
same way. Look,
How the fuck do you get out of a goddamn vehicle in Halo? I forgot.
X.
Found it. Thank you. I figured it out.